That's interesting. Greg Jennings is joining us. Lw'veon Bell, season-long holdout, apparently wrecked a lot of people's fantasy football teams last year. Contract dispute with the Steelers. So as Greg Jennings is joining us, I don't play fantasy football. I bet on games in my life. I bet I win it's over. I don't want to play a season-long. It's like Bitcoin. It goes against everything I believe in. If a centralized bank says we don't count your currency, then I'm not putting my money in Bitcoin. Okay, fantasy football goes against everything I believe in. In fantasy football, running backs are more valuable than quarterbacks, and Tom Brady is about the 15th best quarterback in the league. I'm not playing that game. Okay, now you went to Topgolf. Now I'm going to talk about this in a second with you. Joy, you played Topgolf recently.
Yes, I went for my nephew's 16th birthday.
And it's the opposite of real golf.
Right. And I was very confused. And I've been to a driving range before, but there's like these holes that you're supposed to hit it in, and some are sideways, so you would never want to actually hit a golf ball in that direction if you were playing real golf. And then the more that you hit it in these random holes,
you win.
You get more points. So the higher your score, you win. It's the opposite of everything golf is.
So fantasy, and I want to add, because Lw'veon Bell yesterday apologized to all the fantasy fans out there, and my takeaway is, one of these things in America, cruise ships and fantasy golf, fantasy sports, I'm fine with you doing them. I don't really get them. I don't want to be stranded at sea with insurance salesmen in the middle of the Atlantic. I'm not interested in that mode of travel, a cruise ship. When you were playing, Greg Jennings, in the NFL, did you feel at the end of your career that you could sense fans saw you as just a commodity they could bet on?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm going to be completely transparent. I hated fantasy football for that reason, because all a fan cared about was, oh, you killed it in fantasy for me. Oh, you suck in fantasy. And what I want to say as a rebuttal is I don't care. Like, I really didn't. This is my livelihood. Like, it's a game. It's a fantasy for them that they hope you're consistent. They hope you're productive every single week. And the reality is you're going out there to do that, but the odds aren't in your favor every single week, because you have an opponent in an opposing opposition that is going to try to prohibit you from doing so.
Well, and if the better receiver you are, it's almost a badge of honor that they roll their coverage over, and there's going to be weeks.
Of course.
They take you out of the game plan, and it's the ultimate badge of honor. It's like Belichick. Greg Jennings is not going to beat us.
And he has done that to me before. Like, going into a Patriots game, as a matter of fact, it was a game where Matt Flynn started at quarterback. We were in Foxborough, and I remember reading an article, and in that article, because the Patriots had an opportunity to draft me, they did not. They took Charles Johnson.
Guy was a bum.
Chad Johnson from Florida. And
Chad Jackson.
Chad Jackson. That's who it was.
Not one of Belichick's great moves.
No, it was not. But he made it a point. He came up to me after the game. I wasn't going to let you do anything today. Like, he made it a point. And I was frustrated the entire game. But after hearing him say that, it was the ultimate sign of respect.
Oh, God, yes.
Because everywhere I went, it was 2 and 3 guys across from me.
So the fantasy guy thinks you're a bum. It's the opposite of the truth, which Belichick on tape said, oh, he's their best player.
Yeah, so I'm going to take him away.
So the fan is like, yeah, bad day. No, the ultimate moment in your career after your Super Bowl is Belichick saying, I wasn't letting you beat us.
Yeah, no, not at all.
That's why I'm not a fan. Now, by the way, you fans, you keep playing it. I get you.
But like Topgolf and fantasy football and cruise ships is all about camaraderie and like joking and having fun. It's just fun. And when it gets, and listen, I've played fantasy football for a decade probably, but I don't lose any sleep over it.
The objective with all of these cruise ships, Topgolf, as well as fantasy, is to entertain and draw non-fans of whatever sport or whatever activity that is.
Yes, it is. It is for fringe fans. Yes.
I'm not interested. I'm not interested in human interaction. I like my own football or quarterback.
Or celebration or cake.
By the way, I was talking about, did you ever hold out once?
No, never.
Okay, I'm not a holdout guy. It's just not my thing. Here's the thing. I don't want my teammates in 100-degree weather in camp, and I'm holding out. I don't like that. I feel like they're going to resent me. So Zeke now is in Cabo as the Cowboys are in camp. Is it fair to me to say I don't like the optics of that?
It's fair to you to say it, but as a teammate, they don't care. They really don't, because it gives not only the guys who are behind Ezekiel Elliott an opportunity to step up and show what you're worth and show that you can fill those shoes as a entire running back unit, but it also is predicated on everyone's individual situation. I wasn't a holdout guy, but if someone held out or chose to do so, I wasn't going to judge them based on, I didn't know their position. I didn't know their stance. I didn't know their circumstances. I didn't know what they were really fighting for. Obviously, the money, we all know it's about dollars and cents, but ultimately why? And that's where it's like, that's none of my business. It's not for me to entertain. So I'm going to do my job and be where I need to be. Ezekiel Elliott, I have absolutely no problem with what he's doing because it's his approach. A lot of guys, it's not the popular thing to do. And so that's why we make it a big deal. And for those who are now saying, oh, Jerry Jones, we don't need a
running back to get.
Exactly. We don't need a rusher, a leading NFL rusher. Number one, Ezekiel Elliott is the reason why opposing defenses have problems defending your offense. You pose another threat with Ezekiel Elliott just being on the football field, not only in the running game, but as a passing option as well. So for them to act as though all of a sudden he's replaceable, it's not something new. Are guys replaceable? Of course. But would we be better with them? Of course. It doesn't, guys retire every week.
What about the whole thing, though? If I am Jerry Jones, man, if I start letting guys 2 years out dictate contracts, as a business owner, look, I'm not a fan of that.
But what we have to understand, every guy, just because one guy does it, the idea of every guy is going to start doing this. No, that's unrealistic. That's unrealistic because you have to know your value. You have to understand what you bring to the table and really have the gall to say, you know what? I'm going to bet on myself. Every guy is not cut like that. You have some of the top players in the National Football League that will not hold out simply because it's just not who they are. It doesn't mean they believe any less about their value and about what they bring to that organization and that team. It just isn't who they are. So you won't have that problem.
All right. Hey, every time there's an Aaron Rodgers article that comes out, back a little of the love, everybody always looks to Greg Jennings. Greg, what do you think of this article? Do you not like that position? Do you like it? When basically the article says what I believe, what Bucky believes, you've never stated that Aaron's overrated, but you have become a openly honest, critical voice of Aaron. And I know you've probably gotten blowback on that.
Of course.
From Green Bay fans.
From everyone.
But you appear to be comfortable with your place right now in Packerland. So when you see these articles take me to where you are in Packerland now as the TV analyst of note in America willing to criticize at certain junctures Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, I'm completely disliked in Packerland when it comes to any comment, any topic. It's almost as if I speak down about the Packer organization, or I'm kind of the arrow that always tries to put a spear or an arrow in the head of what's going on in the Packer organization or Packer world. But let me say this. I've always been very critical, constructively of Aaron Rodgers because I have an experience not only with him, but within that organization. So I've been validated to do so. But I have never once been unfair when it comes to his ability on the football field. Now, with saying that, I respect Bucky. I love everything that he does, and I think that his article validates his point. His argument is completely validated because of the statistics that he chose to put together and make sure that his point was made. However, I throw out every statistic in this when it comes to this topic simply because the eye test. That's all I need. I don't care if you don't want this monitor right now has no volume. And if we showed Aaron Rodgers and all his flaws and his highlights, we want that guy.
Right.
We don't have to have anyone show us or flash any statistic or anything, any general manager. This is why they rate him number one, because they understand if I'm standing on the opposing sideline and number 12 in green and gold is on the football field, I'm a little nervous. Actually, I'm a lot nervous because I have the opportunity to allow what I feel like I can obtain as a win slip through my hands because of him. You can't tell me there's one general manager out there or owner that wouldn't take that guy. Not one. Above, and when I look at Patrick Mahomes, is he great? Absolutely. I'm not taking anything away from any of those guys. But you look at guys like Phillip Rivers, he hasn't won a championship. Is he effective? Yes. But we have to pull the numbers to support that. But am I in terror when Phillip Rivers has the ball with 2 minutes remaining? You don't think, oh, he's going to beat me. No, you don't think that. Can he? Absolutely. Drew Brees, do you think that? Yes. Tom Brady, do you think that? Yes. Russell Wilson, do you think that? Yes. Guys like that, you think that about, and you put them in a high regard. Aaron Rodgers has never been a timing quarterback. He can be, but what makes him most lethal is his ability not to be. His ability to be effective, unscripted, without being on time. That's what makes him so scary to opposing coordinators and opposing defenses.
Yeah, he did not play within the system. He's got his own. He's like a little bit like LeBron. He becomes the system. He's got a way of doing it, and then you kind of build it around his strengths.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned LeBron because this is another thing that bothers me about this article. And again, I respect Bucky, and I think he does a phenomenal job. And I agree with him to a certain extent. Just not when it comes to Aaron's not a top 5 quarterback. When you look at Aaron Rodgers last year, his health played a huge role. And I know he mentions, everybody's going to mention his health. Well, it's no different than LeBron James. We can completely snatch him from the greatest player in the National Basketball Association because he missed 18 games and we didn't see the best that he had to offer the entirety of the year. And most importantly, when it matters, when all eyeballs glued to a television, playoffs. We didn't see him in the playoffs. So we started to see and respect and get exposed to other talent. That's what then draws us away from, man, this guy may be better than LeBron James. Why are we saying that? Because we don't have him to look at every single day like we once did. Aaron Rodgers has been in that situation where the year before last he was
2
injured.
years, he's missed a bunch of games.
He's missed a bunch of games. So he hasn't been able to, so your stats are going to be tailored to make sure that, okay, let me cut off this. Well, you can't really say a full year because he didn't play a full year. We don't have a full 2 years to go off of for Aaron Rodgers. So again, if I'm a general manager to his play, I have never been one to say he is not the best. He is. I wouldn't say he's the GOAT because of Tom Brady and what he's been able to accomplish, but Aaron Rodgers is right there in that question because of the threat that he poses. Yeah. He just doesn't have the wins to align with it.
Almost like you're making up to him right here in the hurry.
Not at all. I'm not a makeup type of guy. I've never had a grudge or anything, but
I know.
Me
same way.
Oh, I'll be watching what he does.
Right. I'm the same way with Westbrook. I'm not going to apologize to him, but he's welcome on the couch at any time. I'm not going to apologize to him. Greg Jennings, Joy with the News.
No. Turn